Go ahead and make your point.
No, but this should be a public.
Go ahead and make your point.
Anyway, hiding information.
I'm not hiding information.
Well,
you should have done your research. You should have done your research.
You see, I don't.
You're supposed to be a think tank.
I don't want to use. The reason why I'm doing that, I don't want to use my figures. I want to use your figures.
You don't want to speculate.
No,
I don't want to
He
speculate.
doesn't want to tell lies. That's what he's saying. He doesn't want to lie.
But the point
is
that
figures.
You're saying that something was done at 800 million and all of that. Overpricing.
You doubt Atuabo gas plant 800 million?
I'm not doubting anything. All I'm saying is
industry things. I mean,
I'm not saying I doubt it. They are industry things. Thank you very much for saying that. The only problem is that it's the same industry that has people in there, that has had the same people within those industries raising questions about the prices that
Franklin Kujo is Franklin Kujo an industry player?
I mention names.
I'm mentioning the names you are referring on. Those are the names. Those are the names that have mentioned figures. No, you are relying on Franklin Kujo's intervention.
It's about an issue where when you mention that old women get scared.
No.
Allow me to make my point.
We must tell the truth.
This is the same.
Remember last week? Honesty, honesty, truthfulness, integrity.
You just said we were not there. No problem. Your own document says that overpricing in public procurement should be checked. Immediately casting doubt on all of these figures that you're putting out there.
But these figures go through Parliament.
And you see, the argument I'm making is that they're going through Parliament doesn't mean that it's gone through a rigorous check, as we saw yesterday. It just came hook, line and sinker. It was adopted and that's it. And then you can make the excuse of it went through Parliament.
But let's forget about yesterday's vote for a while.
Can I just say one?
I'll come to you. Let's forget about yesterday's vote for just a minute and look at these agreements or deals that have gone through Parliament.
The Ridge Hospital deal,
yes,
for instance, is a very questionable deal.
Why is it questionable?
Look, 250 what? Million. That's the figure that you have mentioned. I would cross-reference that in a minute and give you some other details. But again,
from who?
Don't worry. I'll give you some other details.
We need to know the source.
Oh,
if it's Franklin Kujo or Gabia Chudako.
I haven't even thrown out the figure. So why are you so uncomfortable?
No, we just want to know.
Can I finish?
We're helping you.
I don't need your help.
Really?
I really don't need.
He can do good all by yourself. Exactly.
I'm having a ball here this morning, so don't worry at all.
You're dancing Kalogo to Agbaja.
Now the issue is that when you have these things being thrown out there, then it becomes a problem. He has just hinted that government is going to have to do some engineering, some re-engineering of the debts of this country by moving things into other people's books and all.
Which is international standard practice.
I haven't said anything, so if you just allow me, you understand.
I'm helping you. I'm helping you and our viewers. It's not you, it's our viewers.
Don't worry, they don't need your help. No, they don't.
They are right now, you think for Ghanaians,
no, they are very capable of understanding issues by themselves. So you are now going to have to put yourself through that condition of doing all these realignment. But there are two things that are the problem to me. If indeed it is not taxpayers' monies that are going to be used to pay off all of these debts, why the increases in taxes? And this is my argument. On the revenue side, in 2008, we didn't have oil. On the revenue side, in 2008, we didn't have all these loans that have come up. On the revenue side, we didn't have all these increments in taxes. So now you have a totally new revenue source and an increase from the original existing sources. In 2012, we're told that the debt to GDP ratio, the wage bill was taking about 70% of revenue. By the estimates that were given yesterday, it says that revenue is expected to be around 30.9 billion. And they expect to pay salaries of 10.3. That reduces it to 33.3%. So that excuse is also gone. So why the need for all of this? They told us that they cannot finance capital issues.
I'm trying to understand.
Let me make my point.
Okay.
They said that, first of all, in terms of revenues and expenditure, you have more revenues coming in. We are now being told that the debts, which we all thought we were being forced to pay, are going to be shifted onto the books of the individuals, and we are not going to have to pay through taxes. We are going to have to pay through other means. That is when you purchase a product, among others. So that frees up the space. Fine. Another excuse that was given is that in terms of revenue and incomes, it was 70% that was being expended. It has now come down to 33.3.
That's not true.
Oh,
that is not true. No, I mean, what figures are you telling that?
Don't worry.
Our wage bill is 33.3%.
No, I'm saying that, Nana, but you heard me say that based on estimates that were given in yesterday's budget. Didn't you hear that part of it? You said, and I'm going to
read. Which part of the budget said is 33.3%?
Okay, I'm coming. Let me just show it to you. Don't worry at all. So whilst
but whilst he's looking for that,
you don't need to. You don't need. You cannot.
You want to take his shine. But
we can't sit down and wait for him to find.
No problem. I'll come back to that point.
So
I'll find the way he's speaking. But the point I'm making, and I'm quoting figures. The revenue side is 30.9. That's how much we're expecting. We are expecting to pay 10.3 as revenue, as wages. All right, that brings it immediately to 33.3. So that excuse that we are paying so much in terms of wages and all of that is immediately gone. So if that's the case, why are you charging us more? What are you using the money for? You've already told us that for capital expenditures, you are going to borrow. And that's what you've done. And you're saying that you're borrowing to enable you, undertake some of these projects and time, and then you also charge the people who are using those facilities to pay for them. So why are you charging us more? What kind of mathematics is this?
And
where is this going?
Can you answer his question?
When you take the 2013 budget, for example, or the 2014 budget that accounted for 2013, or even the 2013 that accounted for 2012, you hear them talk about a huge budget deficit, government overrun, government spent. Our deficit is broken into capital expenditure and then statutory payments and wages and bills. Now, if you take both 2012 and 2013 fiscal years, we underspent on capital expenditure. So it means what we said we were going to spend on capital expenditure, we didn't spend up to. But where the overruns came in were from wages. As we speak today,
but a lot of people doubt that.
No, they can't doubt it. The figures, you see, and who are those? The industry players who we were told about in energy are the same industry players who will be doubting employment figures. One cup fits all in money Ghana. Look, let's call a spade a spade. Today, statutory payments takes 40% of government revenue. Wages, as it sits now, takes 57% of revenue. When you add 57% to 40%, you have 97%. So it means government only has 3% to do all the development we're looking at. 3% of revenue. So this whole picture that is being painted is incorrect.
I'll come to you soon.
Okay. You understand me? So what we are looking at, and here, when my brother is talking and making all the things, what we are doing is we're implementing a public financial management system. That is, or new initiatives. We're expanding giftness. Now we're also making sure that no ministry, no MDA can seek to issue or award contracts without securing the express permit or approval from Ministry of Finance, because Ministry of Finance holds your purse. What we see right now, what we've seen over the time is, Abba, you hold my purse. You hold the purse. You have the amount of money. You know how much I have. But hey, I have 100 Ghana cedis with Abba. I meet Nana Damwa, he says he wants this shirt, it's 70 Ghana. I say, well, Nana Damwa, take it. I meet your cameraman, and then I say, oh, I have 100, so even Nana Damwa needs 70, I've given him 70. Your cameraman says, oh, he also needs a shoe. The shoe is 40. Oh, I have 100, so take the 40. The other cameraman says, oh, Charlie, he needs a boxer short, it's 10. Oh, I have 100. But you realize that 70 plus 40 plus 10 is 120. All I have with you is 100. So how then do you now find the 20 to offset all the purchases I've done, because I thought I had 100. So now what you're doing is, if I want to buy for another Damwa, you've told all the sellers that I will buy from that before you give anything to Sammy, make sure you cross-check with me to know that, look, Sammy has 100 Ghana. He buys the shirt for another Damwa. When he's going to buy something of 40 cedis for the cameraman, he's told that, hey, the seller is told that Sammy has only 30 Ghana cedis left. That is the only way we can monitor the system. Then another thing we're doing is, when you look at the international market, national petroleum companies are some of the best financing institutions across the world. Petrobras, you look at BP. Look, they go, and their governments don't give them money. So because they're able to borrow. And look at GNPC. GNPC was able to attract 700 million on their own balance books. So what are we doing? We're saying that, look, right now as we speak, we're supposed to give GNPC 30% of our carried and net participating interest from our oil revenues. 30% is supposed to go to GNPC. We are dropping that 30% to 20% to free up 10% to do other things. Another very important initiative we've brought in to give credence to the President's initiative for Made in Ghana goods is a Ghana Exim Bank.
Yeah, we'll talk about that very soon.
Okay,
we'll come to the
because you
Exim
question
Bank.
my figures, point 72 says that, and again, I was even wrong in a way. Domestic revenue alone, made up of tax and non-tax revenue, is estimated at 30.9 billion, 28.9% higher than the projected outturn for 2014. That's point 72. So domestic revenue.
No, the 30 figure. No, let's not throw that in our eyes. We're here. He said that the portion of our revenue that is used to pay wages is 33%.
Yeah, he said he had to correct.
So
yes, but what he's reading is completely different.
Hold on. It's not completely different. So you just listen to me. Domestic revenue, that's the entire revenue, made up of tax and non-tax revenue, is estimated at 30.9 billion, 28.9% higher than the projected outturn for 2014. That's point 72. Now move to point 81. Mr. Speaker, compensation of employees, which comprises of wages and salaries and allowances, pensions, gratuities, and social security contributions of government on behalf of employees, blah 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 blah. And here's of this amount, 10.3 billion is estimated for the payment of wages, salaries, and allowances. So it's 30.9, and out of that,
wait. Abba, you showing our figures. That
figures am I
10.3% is what? 30 point what percent?
Listen. Mr. Speaker, you have a calculator, right?
No,
Mr. Speaker,
we are reading. I'm reading with you.
So, Mr. Speaker,
I don't see any 30% there.
No, let me finish. Mr. Speaker, compensation of employees, which comprises wages, salaries, allowances, pensions, gratuities, and social security contributions by government on behalf of its employees, is estimated at 12.3 billion, representing 9.1% of GDP. Of this amount, this is what the figure is: 10.3 billion is estimated for the payment of wages, salaries, and allowances. So you are saying that domestic revenue is 30.9, and you are saying out of that you would use 10.3 to pay wages and salary. Calculate the percentage.
No, that's not true.
Calculate. But what's
that's
not true? This is it. This is not my document.
You are creating things. You're creating things in your mind.
Okay. So, Judge, what exactly does that mean?
Look, Abba, we are saying that our total revenue for oil, and I'm going to read what he said.
It's not oil.
Oh, wait, I'm reading point 72.
Yes, read point 72.
The total revenue from oil is estimated at 4.2 billion Ghana cedis, or 3.1% of GDP.
That's not point 72. Another, please read it.
That's why it talks about domestic revenue.
No.
Which points are you reading?
72. The total revenue from oil, that's it, resource mobilization for 2015. The total revenue from oil.
Which document are you reading?
This is the budget statement.
And okay, I think we have to. It's the same thing, isn't it?
The total revenue from oil is estimated at 4.2 billion Ghana cedis.
That paragraph for him, don't worry.
Let's go. Resource is under the heading resource mobilization.
That's it.
Resource mobilization for 2015, 70, 71, 72. Domestic revenue.
No.
The total revenue from oil is 0.71.
So it's on 71 in yours. Okay, so it means
so that's a change.
So my point, I'm coming. I'm reading my 72.
Read point 73 then.
We'll come there. I'm building a case. The total revenue from oil is estimated at 4.2 billion Ghana cedis, or 3.1% of GDP. Therefore, total revenue and grants, including oil, for the 2015 year is estimated at 33 billion, or 24% of GDP.
Then go back.
Domestic revenue, made up of tax and non-tax revenue, is estimated at 30.9 billion, 28.9% higher. Now, these are revenues that we are estimating we will have. But this is not what we had for 2014.
That's not the argument.
So, no.
So go ahead.
When we speak of figures and we say that currently, we're not talking about 2015. When we say currently, what portion of our revenue?
But you get the argument he's advancing.
No.
You see, let
me explain.
You see,
Sam George,
at the end of 2015,
relax. Let me just explain something. He's making my arguments wrong, and he's trying to twist it. And I don't like that.
I am not. Relax.
You are. So
relax. When you make your point, it's my time to speak.
Let me state my point clearly so that everybody understands it. What I'm saying is that
he was on the floor.
This is disingenuous.
You're looking at wages. We know what our wages are. Okay, 10.9 billion. That's what we're going to pay next year.
Thank you.
With revenue, you make estimates of what your revenues will be this year. Have we met all the estimates of our revenue?
Wages are also estimates.
No. The wages. You know how many people you have on the government payroll. Well, you see, and that's the issue.
So
there's a net freeze. there's a net freeze. So we know that anybody, it doesn't mean we are not employing.
Not going to promote. It doesn't mean that.
It means that those who are moving off the system are the only ones. It's only those who leave the system that you can replace.
But you're not going to replace them in the same bracket, because what's going to happen is that you promote certain people and you employ new ones.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point. You're missing the point.
You're trying to say that.
Abba, if you're on point 3, he's on point 2, I'm on point 1, or I'm not in the service, or he's on point 1 and you're on point 3, or point 2 and you're on point 3, and you move off the service, and he's promoted to point 3, and then I am brought in and put at point 2. How does the figure change?
Okay,
it's the same thing.
When you make allowances for things like minimum wage, which affects everything going throughout, and then you also this year they paid something called COLA and
cost of living allowance.
Unless the government can say that at this moment they know all the adjustments that are going to happen with wages.
We have stated clearly that we're not going to go beyond 6% of wage in terms of wage increases.
So even that is an estimate, because you are saying you don't want to go beyond 6%. You could end up at 2 or 3. The actuals may be different from the estimates. So just accept a very basic point that the wage figure that you have put there is also an estimate. The same as the revenue figure you are putting there is also an estimate.
But what you are talking about are projections. I'm talking about reality. What has happened this year? And I'm saying this year we have paid 59%, about 57%. I'm
not challenging
57%.
I'm not challenging that.
But we are discussing. You make the point that when I say 57%, it is 30%, 33%. That's what you said. That's how the challenge came. That provide the figures. Yes or no?
Then you didn't understand me. The point I was making was that based on your own estimate and your revenue, on your own estimates, you are going to drop.
See, in Freedom Project
coordinator. C-class.
CDI.
Oh, no, Y class. CDI, Y class.
How old is a CDI?
I don't. The very first thing is that the impression is.
And who the
I don't drive a Mercedes Benz.
No, you don't.
That's a fact.
No, he's just saying that
CDI, Y class.
I'm just saying.
And Sam George is a member of the
You can see the difference in the size between Sam George and myself.
I've always been bigger than you.
That should tell you that
my bones are bigger than you.
Thank you very much. We have to go to Bridget Otu now. Bridget has a lot of comments.